I think so. Listen, so you're into ridiculous car things.
Yes.
Have you seen the Japanese Bosozoku?
Yeah, I
exhaust and stuff.
It's a love-hate. It's a love-hate thing for me on that one.
That's interesting. So why? What do you say it's a love-hate?
I don't like the style of it. It's definitely way too much going on for me. But I like it because it's unique. You can't just go and buy these parts online. Like, you physically have to make them.
Sure do.
Yeah, you definitely do. Like, that's the cool factor of it. It's like you're never gonna see two of the same. It's gonna always be somewhat different because it's as unique as can be with modifying the car.
It's so far over the line for me that it's like nothing I would want to ever have, own, or drive. But this is what I will say. I will say that I completely and immensely appreciate some of the artistry that goes into what they do.
Yeah, it's definitely cool, man. Look at it.
It's unbelievable. I mean, look at that guy. He's happy.
He's so happy.
But look at these spoil. I mean, what do you do with his front splitters like that? Now,
performance based, it's nowhere there. It's all for looks. Look how small the wheels are.
It's like the original lowered mini trucks.
Oh.
So what's interesting to me is kind of twofold. The first thing is whatever they do in these wild builds is just unbelievable. But this is actually a pretty interesting culture. Like, at first I always thought it was just kind of like the Japanese with their flair. Like, for those, I see a lot of people, they talk about JDM exhaust and all the JDM parts and cars and stuff like that. JDM gets this real pedestal action that the Japanese car culture gets put on, right? And especially here in the States, I think it's largely the love of the things you can't have that puts it there. But
always,
people, I think, when they think of wheels, at least they think, well, JDM is Volk and Wed Sport and Work and SSR and a lot of these different companies that have become kind of synonymous with higher end tuner wheels here. And I think the one part that people seem to leave out so much is the fact that there are so many JDM brands. JDM brands, and they are hideous. Hideous. And here's the thing. Largely in Japan, there's a lot of culture there, and there's definitely different spans. But if you look at a lot of the Japanese, design and even some of their lifestyle things and their different clothing options and stuff, sometimes the stuff is really far out there. Yeah, like super far out there.
See, but they're always the ones doing it first. Like, they started doing this in Japan after World War II. I read that somewhere. I actually looked this up. But now it's
like the story
all.
But
now it's going even into the UK, into Europe. Like, it's, I don't know. I feel like Japan always sets.
He's got a downward slope. But let's be honest. He's trying to contemplate what's coming off first.
Let's see what's going on here.
Is it going to be the side skirt, or is it? It's definitely the side skirt.
I think it's going to be the side skirt, but once he hits that front end,
you see all these guys in the pink camouflage here. They actually they're part of just making sure they can leave the driveway. That's the I'm going to leave the driveway crew.
Yeah. Oh my god!
They're really debating this.
This
is going to be a tough project we got going on here.
I feel like going in would definitely be a lot easier than going out.
Oh, I see what they're going to do. Keep the weight on the back
so that the front goes up.
Right.
But then the side skirt is going to...
It's not that he stopped.
Oh, he's stuck right now.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Now we figured it out.
Now, we're going to really draw some correlations to this. You can really see a lot of the correlations. He's doing a burnout to go backwards. Nice. Now he's going to floor it, and Duke's a hazard.
He's going to have to.
He's stuck again. He's stuck again. No. He's changing the approach.
We got it.
Oh, look at this. Oh. I like how they made the front spoiler almost like a piece of Tupperware. Like, it just,
that thing just flexed though.
Oh, here we go. Now we got something to look at.
Yeah, look at that.
So for those that are listening to this on the podcast thing, those
are hold on.
What's
going? Where is he going?
He's got to go the other way.
He's like, I'm not going out that way.
But so these cars, it's not.
Wait, he's gonna reverse out. Hold on, he's gonna reverse out.
This is great.
I do gotta say that is. I'll give him that. This is dedication, though, Scott.
Look at the Tupperware type
but
stuff.
Look,
that they got
he made it out no problem.
I mean,
imagine having to pull out of like Walmart or Target. Just like,
tell me, it looks like fence posts. Tell me, how is it that the exhaust that we have under the car, the small ones, seem to come off the hangers, but these guys can have 7 feet exhaust over the cars?
Dude, it's wild.
That's unbelievable. That's some really special stuff.
Not gonna lie, everybody took that dude's idea about going backwards out after the first. Look, even more.
This guy's like, he's got it. Look at that exhaust.
It honestly looks like they took a goalpost and cut it in half and just put it there.
I will tell you that looks shockingly like one of those rides that you get on in the boat at Disneyland. Right?
No, those are one of those funky Hot Wheels that you get that'll never be actually made.
But think about the amount of time it takes to fabricate this stuff. Look at this thing.
That thing is.
By the way, if the Flare was driving the Flash,
my God, that would be it.
That'd be his car in Japan.
Is he gonna go backwards? Is he gonna go? Yeah, he's going backwards.
I feel like we might be watching the same clip over again. I'm not sure.
No, I feel like these are all different cars, but again, who knows?
So I think the idea of doing some of these things with the exhausts and some of the Japanese culture is super interesting. But you brought up a good point. It's actually quite a sad story. Like. So the story of is we talk about the artistry and some of the car modifications that were just and I don't know how else to describe them, but over the freaking top.
Yeah.
I mean that stuff is crazy. Nothing functional about it, but I will say
nothing functional at all, not whatsoever. Which is I think it's cool. It's all purely for the uniqueness of it. They're not driving to go fast. They're not modding the car to go faster or drift or do anything like that. They are modding it just to look as ridiculous as possible driving down the road.
But in a style that only they could capture.
Again, I feel like this is going to make its way sooner or later over here.
This has been going on for decades.
I feel like the West Coast is going to be big on this thing at one point.
I think that there's probably a group of them already here, but I
wouldn't be surprised.
Here's what's interesting. The story of this is pretty ravishing, and I don't really know a ton about it, but I do know I've heard this story many times before. This is not the first time this cultural thing. I just think like you are the perfect one because you're so ridiculous in some of your stuff.
Stuff, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
So
this thing is actually really clean. That's really clean.
Yeah, but that's not at all.
No, nowhere near what we're talking about. He was just driving through. He's like, I gotta go, guys. He was going
to work, and he's like, oh look, it's a Bosozoku.
Bosozoku, which means violent speed tribe.
Well, all right, so
that's what the internet told me, so I'm gonna roll with it.
Right. So does this guy have a
that thing's got
helmet?
He's got a half pipe.
No. Tell me the dude on the motorcycle has a Bosozoku helmet.
All right. We might need to blur that one out. Japan. That wasn't even planned. That just rolled through.
Japan, I love you.
I really do. I want to go to Japan so bad.
These guys, I love this.
They're just living life.
So it's actually a pretty sad story in a sense that, from what I understand from the stories I've heard and I've read, is that the term really never applied to car culture itself. It was actually more related to like motorcycle, and they were kind of like some of the first original motorcycle gangs back in the 50s, because a lot of these soldiers were coming back from World War II, and I would imagine, like when you really think about it, it was probably pretty messed up.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
I could only imagine.
World War II, right? So first they get
history lessons with Scott.
Yeah, right. I mean, and take this history for what you want, First, there's the whole thing about, the war that they were going on in early part of World War II. Then all of a sudden they have this lightning bolt of an idea to, devastate the U.S. by doing Pearl Harbor.
Yep.
And that's where the kamikaze pilot thing gets so built up from, right? That was the first introduction, I think, that most of the world had seen on a large scale, where the thought of the actual plane and pilot giving of their life would turn into the actual weapon. Mm-hmm. So anyhow, so you have all these soldiers, but then they wake the sleeping giant, just like the movie, and then essentially the United States drops nukes on the country.
Yeah.
Killing, mass devastation, taking out civilians, the whole thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now this is X amount of years later. So now some of these guys coming off of World War II and they're soldiers, they don't have any purpose. They don't have this purpose of life. Like, what are they supposed to do? I would imagine that there's this great deal of gravity of some of these guys probably felt like I never thought I would be here because I was always planning to give my life for my country, right?
Yeah.
And then you have all these guys that came out of the war, and it's like, what do you do? Like, what do you do after that? It's the same thing we see with the post-traumatic stress disorders that happen in the U.S. when soldiers return from wartime, and they're trying to adjust to civilian activity. So now you have a group of these guys in the 50s that just don't know what to do, and they essentially end up kind of creating this motorcycle type of gang, and they were one of the first. And I've heard people talk about some of them were made up of a lot of the Yakuza and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But let's look at this. So you have this generation of essentially people that are doing this cool stuff with motorcycles and stuff like that because they had nothing else to do.
Yeah.
Like their life, and so this culture morphed from that, and later on as it goes into 60s, 70s, there's a lot of different intricacies to how the culture evolves and gets to cars. But as cars start to become part of kind of this culture, we get this.
It's so cool though, man. Again, it's nothing that I could personally do myself, but I think it's such a cool concept. It's unique. The bikes are probably my favorite.
Yeah,
but
I would say that the exhaust that go all the way around the car.
Yeah, it's wild. Man.
How do you even say? Here's what I can't figure out. I don't know how these guys put pipes like that on the car.
Look at this one.
That's unbelievable.
It's out the hood.
It's out the hood. It's on top of the roof.
And this guy's just having a great time in there.
He was probably the same guy on the motorcycle, I feel like. So here's the thing. Like, I don't even know how they get welds to not break. Like, because the exhaust weight on those welds must be so severe. There's no hangers. I mean, look at that guy's got some stuff going on there.
So crazy.
I really struggle with. I can appreciate the artistry. I really struggle. I don't understand the flavor at all. That's kind of cool for some.
Yeah, that is cool.
Did he have balls?
Yeah.
If you're listening to this by any chance of the imagination on any one of the podcast things, you should really go check this out on YouTube, because there's a lot of B-roll that is popping up here, and I will say that it is absolutely crazy.
But my favorite thing about it is everything is unique. Every single car that you see on this is just different, unique, versus I've been to a lot of Volkswagen shows where you can look at the same Volkswagen with the same wheels on it 20 different times. So I very, very big into this. I definitely approve. I think it's cool.
How do they keep those front spoilers on? They're like 3 feet long.
I can't keep a spoiler on that's a foot on.
It's not even a foot on.
It's not even.
It may be 3 inches off the ground, but it's right on the front of the car. These guys are anyhow.
Yeah,
I think it's an interesting story, and I think it's an interesting piece of car culture that I hope stays in Japan.
No, it's already making the move.
I know, but I hope it stays there.
Move.
Well, yeah, no, it's been around, and you've seen a lot of the drift. You've seen some of the drift guys go to the longer exhaust type things. Maybe not to the same. Look at those
not to this
pipes.
extent, but
look at that.
But look, it looks like the weld's about to come off itself.
No, it's not the weld.
I know.
That guy's that thing's boogieing. It's moving with the whole engine.
That's wild.
Anyhow, that's nuts. What do you think about doing that to your Volkswagen?
They're actually I've seen a couple of I think 1 or 2 that have had the crazy exhaust that come out high like that. Personally, it's not the look for that car.
So what you're saying is you'd rather go out of your hood. We could do that.
We'll just drill a hole right in there.
We'll just put a hole in, and then we'll run it on top of the roof.
And then it'll come up and around.
Yeah.
And then maybe we'll just bring it to the rear, right back in.
Yeah.
So it's just...
It just follows the line of the car.
Just follows.
That's sweet. Oh,
yeah. There
dude,
you go. You see, it's done.
Listen. You see that?
That star one I've seen. I've seen that star one.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
You know, he's probably stage 2.
But if you look, the exhaust is open right there into the tip. So like this star, there's no airflow that's flowing through. It's legit just there for style.
Well, clearly it's a resonator. It flows up to the tip and then flies around the
Right
star
around
and
the
back out
star.
the exhaust. Yeah.
But it's so uneven and it's driving my OCD crazy. See how like the right side is just longer? Like it's just
I know what you mean. It's just slightly off.
That's not slightly. That's off a little bit.
Well, it's off, but
It's off.
I don't know.
But yeah, it is. It has been done.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't pull it off.
So, all right. So, what do you think about this story? For those that are out there, let us know kind of what do you think about this movement, right? This is this existing, movement that's rich in car heritage and culture, but and has an extensive Japanese history attached to it, and has evolved into this. Do you think it's cool? Do you think there's artistry there? Would you ever do it? Do you think that some of this stuff needs to be worked in to Daut's Volkswagen? I'm gonna say yes.
That's a little. That's
Listen,
wild.
you love wide wheels. Look at the flares.
I do love wide wheels.
No one outflares them.
No. Nobody's gonna outflare that.
That's awesome. Well, anyhow.
But that's outflared with like a 13-inch wheel too.
Because they know what's going on.
That's wild.
Listen, these are bad dudes.
Yes.
When you can put your oil cooler on the front of the car.
On the front lip.
Look at the purple velour. Purple velour interior. Unbelievable. Anyhow.
I love it.
That's it for this one. Let us know what you think. Throw it down below. Get over there to YouTube if you're listening on the podcast thing, and let us know if this is something you think is super cool.
Yes.
Or super
and make sure to like and subscribe.
Oh, wow. Anyhow.
Did throw that in there.
Yeah. Take care of yourself.
Later, guys.
Next week.
Peace.